Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the bill.
To the bill.
Colleagues, I stand today in support of HB 2004. I take a stand in support of my constituents who fear housing displacement, discrimination, and retaliation. In today's housing crisis, with rising rents and vacancy rates hovering at or below 1%, communities across the state, Oregon's renters are extremely vulnerable to unfair displacement and eviction, and communities of color are disproportionately impacted. Our current no-cost eviction law is increasing the impact of the housing crisis on our most vulnerable communities. No-cost evictions can be used to evict at any time, even if the tenant has paid the rent and followed the rules. The landlord can evict the tenant and not tell them why. These notices can be easily abused and can be used to discriminate or retaliate against tenants. In my community, I regularly hear from working families who live in fear that they might be removed from their homes through no fault of their own, fear that a no-cost eviction could cause them to lose their jobs, disrupt their children's schooling, losing their savings, or even become homeless. Fear that an extreme rent increase could destroy their stability. This fear causes many renters to try to keep a low profile. Tenants are afraid to ask for necessary repairs or assert their fair housing rights, even if their health or safety are at stake, or the health and safety of their kids depend on it. They worry that if they speak up, they will get a no-cause eviction notice and put themselves and their families at risk, and there will be nothing they can do except to try to scramble for a new place to call home. My own family has experienced this fear, and I know firsthand that because of fear of a no-cost eviction, there are children in my district who live in conditions that no one should have to experience. Home is the foundation of opportunity, and it ought to be a place of safety. Our no-cost eviction laws are causing too many Oregonians to live in fear in their homes. The housing crisis is disproportionately impacting communities of color. Our communities are often spending more than 30 or even 50% of their income on housing, leaving too little left for other basic needs or if there's an emergency. People of color are the most vulnerable to the fear of retaliatory or discriminatory evictions. And income disparities experienced by families of color mean there is a greater possibility of homelessness because of no-cost eviction. Protecting tenants by requiring a legal cause for evictions and allowing local governments the flexibility to address rising housing costs is a step in the right direction towards addressing racial disparities and improving economic and housing stability for Oregonians of color. Amendments adopted by the committee ensure that the bill will not have a burden on small landlords or new development. Housing stability impacts community well-being, including educational outcomes, community health, access to jobs and transit, and overall quality of life. HB 2004 will protect Oregon families and communities to bolster a fair shot for all. For these reasons, colleagues, I stand in support of HB 2004, and I urge an aye vote. Thank you.